Chapter 2. Lemuria, Her Origin. Adama. In the beginning, millions of years ago, this planet was created with 7 major continents. Almost from the beginning, many colonies of extraterrestrial civilizations came here to live. Some stayed for short periods, while others stayed much longer. The details of this past era of Earth's history are recorded in the Library of Porthologos in the Inner Earth and also in our own Lemurian library in Telos. Very few, if any, of the true facts of the long history of this planet still exist on the surface today. For most, those civilizations were not as physical as you experience yourself today, nor were records kept in the same way. Nearly all the records that managed to survive the cataclysms on the surface were eventually destroyed in one way or another. About 4,500,000 years BC, Archangel Michael with his band of blue flame angels and many beings from the light realm, with the blessing of the Father-Mother God, escorted to this planet the first souls who were to become the seeds of the Lemurian race. This took place at the Royal Teton Retreat, known today as the Grand Teton National Park near Jackson, Wyoming. These new souls incarnating on this planet originally came from the land of Mu in the Doll universe. At that time, the Earth expressed everywhere a perfection, abundance and beauty that can hardly be imagined today. It was indeed the most magnificent paradise of this universe and of the whole of creation. This perfection was maintained for several million years, until the beginning of the fall in consciousness that took place during the Fourth Golden Age. Eventually, other races from Sirius, Alpha Centauri, the Pleiades and a few other planets came and joined these seed souls to evolve here as well. These races mixed together to form the Lemurian Civilization. To say the least, it was quite an awesome mixture. Lemuria, the motherland, became the cradle of an enlightened civilization on this planet, assisting in the eventual birth of many other civilizations, including Atlantis. At first, the wondrous souls who came here from Mu for the great adventure had to adjust and acclimate to many new experiences. With the assistance and guidance of the angels, they were tutored inside the Royal Teton Retreat on how to live here, and gradually they ventured out and started to form small communities. As they adjusted and gained confidence, they ventured further and further away from the retreat. They later colonized the whole continent of Lemuria, which was huge and extended far into what you know today as the Pacific Ocean and beyond. Before the fall, the Lemurians were not in physical expression as you know it today. Earth existed in a fifth-dimensional expression at that time. Lemurians lived mainly in their fifth-dimensional light bodies, with the ability to lower their vibration to experience denser levels whenever they chose and to return to their light bodies at will. Of course, this was very long ago, before what you call the fall, which brought the gradual lowering in vibration of the consciousness of this wondrous race and of all others living on the planet. Our people, like many other civilizations, eventually fell to the level of the fourth dimension, and later on, all the way to the density of the third. This fall in consciousness took place over a period of several thousand years. Opening to the heart of Lemuria. Aurelia. A bit of history of Lemuria's tragic ending. This information has been drawn from the teachings of Sharula Dukes of Telos, now living on the surface, in New Mexico, from several transmissions of various ascended masters during the Bridge to Freedom dispensation in the 1950s, as well as other information channeled from Adama for this presentation. The Lemurian Age stretched from approximately 4,500,000 BC to about 12,000 years ago. Until the sinking of the continents of Lemuria, and later of Atlantis, there were 7 major continents on this planet. The lands belonging to the gigantic continent of Lemuria now under the Pacific Ocean include Hawaii, the Easter Islands, the Fiji Islands, Australia and New Zealand. The continent also encompassed lands in the Indian Ocean and Madagascar. The eastern coast of Lemuria extended to California and part of British Columbia in Canada. As a result of wars, great devastation took place on Lemuria and Atlantis. 25,000 years ago, Atlantis and Lemuria, the two highest civilizations of the time, battled each other over the direction of other civilizations on the planet. The Lemurians believed that less evolved cultures should be left alone to continue their evolution at their own pace, in accordance with their own understanding. The Atlanteans believed the less evolved cultures should be controlled by the two more evolved civilizations. This dissension caused a series of thermonuclear wars between them. When the wars were over and the dust had settled, there were no winners. During these devastating wars, highly civilized people resorted to low levels of behavior, eventually realizing the futility of their actions. Ultimately, Atlantis and Lemuria became the victims of their own aggression, and the homelands of both continents were greatly weakened by war. The people, through the priesthood, were informed that within less than 15,000 years their continents would be destroyed. In these times, because people commonly lived an average of 20,000 to 30,000 years, it was understood that many who had caused the havoc would live to experience the destruction. In the time of Lemuria, California was part of the Lemurian continent. When the Lemurians realized that their land was destined to perish, they petitioned Shambhala the Lesser, the head of the Agartha network, for permission to build a city beneath Mount Shasta in order to preserve their culture and their records. Shambhala the Lesser is inhabited by the Hyperborean civilization which left the surface of this planet well over 40,000 years ago. The Hyperboreans were, at the time, in charge of making decisions for the Agartha network. This network now consists of about 120 subterranean cities of light, mostly inhabited by Hyperboreans. 4 of the cities are Lemurian and a couple are Atlantean. In order to be granted the permission to build a city and become part of the subterranean Agartha network, the Lemurians had to prove to many agencies, such as the Galactic Confederation of Planets, that they had learned their lessons from the years of war and aggression. They also had to prove that they had learned the lessons of peace in order to be accepted again as members of the Confederation. When permission was granted to build their city, it was understood that this area would survive the predicted cataclysms. There was already a very large dome cavern existing within Mount Shasta. The Lemurians constructed their city, Telos. This whole area, California, a major part of southwestern USA, the lands north of Mount Shasta along the west coast and up to British Columbia, was called Telos. Telos means communication with spirit, oneness with spirit and understanding with spirit. When Telos was constructed, it was designed for approximately 200,000 people. The continent was destroyed a bit earlier than anticipated and many people did not escape in time. When the cataclysm took place, only 25,000 people made it inside the mountain and were saved. Already, the records had been moved from Lemuria to Telos and several temples had been built. It is known that the beloved motherland went down overnight. The continent sank so quietly that most people were unaware of what was happening, most were asleep. No unusual weather conditions manifested that night. According to a transmission, given by Lord Himalaya in 1959 through Geraldine Innocenti, Lemuria's twin flame, a great many of those in the priesthood who had remained faithful to the light and their sacred calling kept their posts. Another transmission from the Lord Maha Chohan, March 1957 through Geraldine Innocenti, during the Bridge to Freedom dispensation, stated, before the Lemurian continent sank, the priests and priestesses of the temples were warned of the coming cataclysmic changes, and various focuses of the sacred fire were transported to Telos. Others were transported to other lands which would not be affected. Many of these flames were taken to the continent of Atlantis to a specific location and were sustained there for quite a period of time by daily spiritual applications. Just before Lemuria sank, certain of these priests and priestesses returned to their homes on that continent and volunteered to go down with the land and her people, giving the assistance of their radiation and extending comfort and fearlessness. They offered this help to counteract the fear which always comes with cataclysmic action. These loving benefactors, by the radiation of their sacrifice, literally surrounded the auras of the people in a blanket of peace and assisted in creating a freedom from fear so that the etheric bodies of those life streams would not be so severely scarred, thus saving those people in future embodiments from having to experience greater tragic consequences. Lord Himalaya in the Bridge to Freedom dispensation in 1959 said, many members of the priesthood placed themselves in small groups strategically in various areas and they prayed and sang as they went down beneath the water. The melody they sang was the same as is known today as Auld Lang Syne. The idea behind this action was that every horrifying experience leaves a very deep scar and trauma in the etheric body and cellular memory of the people, which takes several embodiments to heal. Through the action and the sacrifice of those of the priesthood, choosing to stay together in groups and singing to the very end, much fear was mitigated and a certain level of harmony was maintained. This way, the damage and trauma to the souls who perished was greatly diminished. It was said that those of the priesthood, along with the musicians, sang and prayed until the waves and the water had risen to the level of their mouths. It is then that they also perished. During the night, while the masses slept, under a starry blue sky, it was all over, the beloved motherland was submerged beneath the waves of the Pacific Ocean. None of the priesthood had left their post and none had evidenced any fear. Lemuria went down with dignity. Auld Lang Syne was the last song ever heard in the land of Lemuria. Tonight, I will ask you to sing this song again as part of our presentation. The people of Earth have brought this song forth again through the Irish people, and very prophetic words have been added, should old acquaintances be forgot. What do you think we are doing together this evening? Indeed, we are these old acquaintances reuniting again. Those of us from the third dimensional realm are now uniting in consciousness with our former friends and family members of Lemuria, yet invisible to our present sight. Hear this next statement well in your heart, my friends. Before Lemuria sank completely, it was prophesied that one day, in some far distant future, many of us would gather in groups and sing this song again, with the absolute knowingness that the Earth's victory is won. Today brings the celebration of this long-awaited day and the fulfilling of that incredible prophecy. Today, we are initiating the long-awaited reunion. It is with tears in my eyes that I am letting you know from Adama that many of you in this room tonight were among those brave souls who sacrificed their lives for the benefit of the collective. Let's applaud your bravery then and rejoice now for our return to continue the great Lemurian mission of assisting humanity and the planet into her glorious ascension. In Telos, one aspect of the mission has been to hold the balance and energies of ascension consciousness for the planet until such time that surface dwellers can do so for themselves. Now the time has come for our two civilizations to do this together as one heart. Earth after the sinking of the two continents. At the same time Lemuria was going down, Atlantis started shaking and loosing pieces of its continent. This continued for over 200 years until the final stage when it sank completely. For 2,000 years following the Lemurian and the Atlantean catastrophes, the planet continued to shake. Within 1,200 years the Earth lost two major land masses, a major setback and trauma which required several thousand years of recovery to restore balance. For hundreds of years after the destruction of both continents, so much debris was thrown into the atmosphere that the Earth did not experience bright daylight. The temperature dropped due to lack of sunlight and a large percentage of the animals and plants perished. Why is there so little evidence today of the remains of these two great civilizations? The cities that did not sink were reduced to rubble, or were wiped out by earthquakes or huge tidal waves that often flooded 1,000 miles inland, destroying most cities and habitation in their paths. Living conditions for the civilizations that survived those cataclysms was so harsh that people became frightened and the quality of life deteriorated quickly. For those who survived these calamities, hunger, poverty, and disease were their legacy. The original height of mankind on this planet was approximately 12 feet. The Hyperboreans were and still are 12 feet tall. None of them live on the surface at this time. By the time Lemuria sank, Lemurians were reduced to 7 feet, and remain 7 to 8 feet tall to this day. Since then, there has been a further lowering of physical height on the planet. Most on the surface are 6 feet tall or less. As our civilization evolves, the greater body height will be restored. Even now, surface people are becoming taller than they were only 100 years ago. This evening, if you choose to allow it, Adama and all those of Telos who are here in their light bodies are going to give us an opportunity to heal our own personal and planetary records. This will serve the planet and humanity, as well as each one of you individually. The new day, the new world, is just about to be born. We have learned our lessons of love, and the new Lemuria, the paradise refound, is just about to manifest again. Telos, the part of Lemuria that had remained faithful to her sacred calling and the light, was lifted up to the fourth dimension at the time of the cataclysm. Her people eventually evolved into a fifth dimensional awareness, and exist in this higher dimension. Telos, our beloved Telos, with all the incredible people who live there, is our doorway to this wondrous place. Healing the heart of Lemuria. Adama. Clearing of lingering old Lemurian records. At the dawn of a new era on Earth. My beloveds, dearest brothers and sisters of the past, former family members, on behalf of the Lemurian Council of Telos, on behalf of Ra and Ranamu, King and Queen of Telos, and also on behalf of about 500,000 of us present in our etheric bodies here this evening, it is with great joy, love and honoring that we greet you. As we open our hearts to you, we ask that you also open your hearts to us for a great healing. We are here this evening to co-create together a very important clearing and healing for our planet and for all of you as well. Let's call this first a clearing of old, painful Lemurian records still lingering in the hearts and souls of most people. Secondly, by the reconnection of our hearts, let's create a new and more direct link between our two civilizations. The time of our separation is almost over and we are now reconnecting heart to heart with more and more of you every day. This opening that we are just about to co-create, dear ones, will speed up the time of our emergence among you. Soon, our two civilizations will meet once again, face to face in a great celebration of light and love. We will work together, hand in hand and heart to build the most wondrous and magical permanent golden age of enlightenment, wisdom, peace and abundance you could ever imagine. We will assist you in building communities of love and light like never before without the interference from negative forces that have permeated this planet for so long. The long dark night you have endured on the planet is almost over. Very soon, the light will shine brighter than it ever has for all of us to enjoy. You are now experiencing the last hours of darkness as the dawn is peeking through. Although you will soon be facing the changes that you have long anticipated, we ask you to perceive those changes as the deliverance of your planet. That time is now imminent and it is very important that you stay centered in your glorious self. Do not allow yourself to go into fear, dear ones, and accept all changes and shifts that present themselves, no matter what you witness and experience around you. Embrace it all as the hand of God creating a new world for you. So much help will be available to you from all directions, and we offer our assistance to you as well. Simply ask us in your heart and we will be there to assist you. Aurelia Louise summarized the tragedy of the sinking of our continent 12,000 years ago. The purpose was to make you aware of the heavy records that were created by the devastation. We want you to know that many of those painful records still linger in the hearts and souls of humanity. The heartbreak and soul trauma that took place in those days is indescribable. It is now time to heal all of this, starting with your own being. These ancient records are causing a kind of spiritual fog in the consciousness of humanity. Because the pain has been so unbearable, too many of you have closed your consciousness to the remembrance of higher knowledge. Myself, Adama, and all of us of Telos would like very much to clear a large percentage of those lingering records this evening. There are enough of us and you present that, if you set your intentions, we can create this healing for you and for the planet. Would you like to accomplish this with us this evening? Yes, from the audience. Now, let us be silent for a few moments. I ask you to set your intention to have your own records cleared and healed. Go deep into your heart. Also present with us this evening are many masters and some from the angelic kingdom who are ready to assist with this major clearing. After you have asked for your own healing, ask silently in your heart for the same clearing and healing for all of humanity who are able at this time to be cleared. I assure you, there are many. Moment of silence. This, my friends, will start the ball rolling. It will roll, as in the 100th monkey effect, until all records are cleared. It will assist humanity greatly. Thank you so much. By participating in this co-creation, you are rendering a major service to the planet and to yourself. We took this energy you have just created around the planet to heal the hearts of many. Now that a large percentage of the records have been cleared and healed this evening, let us leave the tragedies and sorrows of the past behind and open up to the next great events that are now in the making, blessing our planet in ways you cannot yet comprehend. The doorway for us to connect heart to heart with humanity is now more open. We thank you for this planetary service and for your presence here this evening. In a little while, be assured that the dark night will be completely lifted. There will be no more sorrows or tears on the surface of this planet. If there are tears, they will only be tears of joy and ecstasy. Together, we will manifest a most glorious destiny for all those who choose it. We are your elder brothers and sisters who have volunteered to show you the way, to become your role models. Since we have already done what you are about to do, with our help, it will be much easier for you. We invite you to take our hands and accept our help. You know we have the ability to ease your journey in this next great planetary adventure. We have created the new Lemuria in the 5th dimension, a paradise of wonders and magic. All you ever dreamed about is here and much more. When the time comes, together with all of you, we will extend the new Lemuria to the surface of the planet. We will teach you all we know and all we have learned in the last 12,000 years of isolation from the surface population. I am Adama, and along with my fellow Lemurians, we all champion your victory.